How does the pronunciation of a mantra affect its vibration? For example, hreem or hring, or the bija mantra aim or eem, might be pronounced differently depending on one's geographical location or lineage.
That's true. The most important aspect of recitation is intention. What do you intend to do? Why are you doing it? What is your motivation? What is the intensity of your dedication? Let's ask, beyond the pronunciation, it doesn't matter if you're in the Northeast, you pronounce NG with an anuswar. And if you're in the North, you pronounce M with a dot on top. And if you're in the South, you pronounce M with a dot on the bottom. And if you're somewhere in the middle, you pronounce M with a chandra bindu. It doesn't make any difference. But what is your intention? What is your motivation? What is your aspiration? What is your understanding when you pronounce? That's the most important part, Ambika. So there are regional differences in the pronunciation of the Sanskrit alphabet. I really implore you to read the little booklet we wrote called, what was it called? Pronunciation and the Chandi Samputs. In that we give a very general outline of the evolution of transliterated Sanskrit, of how Sanskrit evolved throughout the different alphabets, because originally Sanskrit was Shruti. It was only heard. It was transmitted from guru to disciple verbally, and it was audible, and you got it through osmosis. You just got it. And then they started writing it down. And then there developed a Brahmi script, with which and the first Brahmi script had 20 characters with which to express what we now have as 144 characters. The first Brahmi script had 20 characters, and then it was transliterated into the various languages of India, and we have any number of characters ranging from 26 in Punjabi and English to 58, I believe it is, in Kannada and Tamil. It's in the book. I don't remember them exactly. But the main point of this illustration is that there are various numbers of characters even in the Indian alphabets. And they all express the same incapacity as we have in reading in Roman letters, with the dots and the dashes and the various signs that we did to distinguish the different kinds of T's and the different kinds of S's and the different kinds of M's and N's, etc., etc. So we put dots underneath and dashes on top and accent marks and all kinds of different markings we gave to the various characters, and we all look at it in our language and it means the same thing. It's an S with a dot under it. What does that mean? Well, they had the same difficulty in all the Indian alphabets. So regionally the pronunciation varies. And it doesn't make any difference. We have great saints who took birth in the north, south, and east and west. We even have great saints who live in the Devi Mandir. So using the various tools at our disposal, the most important is the intention, the motivation, the intensity, the understanding. What are you trying to do by reading this literature? What are you trying to say? What kind of vibration are you trying to emit? What are you trying to evolve? How are you growing? In what direction are you going? How are you guiding your growth? What do you want to be when you grow up? What is your purpose of studying this material? Do you want to be a historian? Do you want to be a grammarian? Do you want to be a philosopher? So every one of us who went into Sanskrit studies, I mean, we've always talked about this over and over again. There are several subjects of Sanskrit. We have Vyakaran, Ucharan, Itihas, Sahitya, Darshan Shastra, Jyotish, Padoti. These 7 subjects, actually there's 6. And they are grammar, pronunciation. History and literature are one subject because you only study history when you read the literature. I mean, you really get real with it. You either listen to it or you read the literature. You study the literature, you get the history. And then you've got Darshan Shastra is philosophy, Jyotish is astrology. When do I do what puja for what purpose? And Padoti is the Tantra. How do you weave the warp and the woof of the cloth together? How do you weave all of these different disciplines into the tapestry of what you're going to become? Now, how are you guiding your personal evolution? Where are you going? What's your intention? What's your motivation? Do you want to be the greatest teacher? Do you want to be you want to have the most disciples? Do you want to have the biggest ashram? What's your goal? Can't make the journey without an intended destination. So please, describe the origin and describe the terminus, and then you can plot a path. And those are the real key ingredients to correct pronunciation. Why are you doing what you're doing? What do you hope to achieve by doing it? Where are you going with it? Where are you hoping it's going to take you? You're not just throwing your arms up in the air and say, take me where you please. Are you? I hope not. So these, and then Ambika, the pronunciation, whether you pronounce it aim or him or ung or bung, it doesn't make any difference really. If you have the intention, you have the understanding, you have the intensity, you have the motivation, you know what you're doing. I'm not doing this as a show for others. I'm doing this has been my relationship with God. So obviously we want to come as accurately as we possibly can to the proper pronunciation, but according to whom? According to whom? Wherever I went in India, there was always somebody who said, don't do that. Don't say it like that. I go, show me how you do it. Oh no, I can't show you. So I would think the correct pronunciation is the pronunciation that you understand yourself, that you listen to inside, that says to your heart, this is where I'm going and this is how we plan to get there and this is how we're making the journey and these are my intentions and these are my motivation and that is my example and this is the way I am reflecting that example in my own life. That's called good pronunciation.